Hello, and welcome to the Physical Therapy Owners Club podcast. I'm your host, Nathan Shields. And today I've got on the podcast joining me Sachin Bhatt of Rectangle Health. He is a practice solutions consultant. Sachin, thanks for taking the time to come on with me today, man.
No, thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, Sachin reached out to me because their company, Rectangle Health, works with many healthcare industries regarding AR and collections and digital payment solutions. And me knowing the PT industry, and we're typically 1, sometimes 2 decades behind the curve, thought maybe I should represent someone like Sachin to tell us a bit about what digital payment availabilities there are out there and that kind of stuff, and the benefits of them. But before we get into it, Sachin, tell us a little bit about yourself, what you're doing in the space.
Yeah, no, I thank you, Nathan. I appreciate that. As Nathan said, I'm Sachin. I'm with Rectangle Health. We simply just make things easier for the practices. And not just for the PT world. We're in just many different verticals. Dentistry, medical in general, chiropractic, medical wellness centers, and whatnot. But as far as the physical therapy world, we provide tools to make the process, right? The process from the patient experience in regards to making those payments, the point of sale, when they come into credit card transaction, right at the point of care, to the billing cycle, when it comes to those balances that need to be paid off. So that from the patient experience side. And then from the actual office side, when it comes to collecting those payments, and the enhancing kind of like the revenue cycle in a sense, right? And lastly, we also keep the keep the office compliant under HIPAA, right? We actually acquired PCI HIPAA, which is a huge company out west. And so through those guidelines of PCI HIPAA, we kind of thrive in that because it's very important. Offices kind of tend to, not that they forget about those things, but they get busy in their daily lives and in the office lives, I would say. And you put it on the back burner, and it's difficult to kind of continue with the rules and regulations.
All right.
So we kind of help and assist in all those facets of the office, and it's important.
Well, the cool thing about a digital company like yours is you provide a service in which you can integrate with the EMR, right? Of a practice,
absolutely,
and keep credit cards safely on file.
Absolutely.
Instead of the patients requiring to hand over the card at every visit, right?
That's right.
You can establish, and thus, it's a couple pushes of the button to take a copay instead of running the card, right? And it's also the ability to establish payment plans.
That's
really easily through your program, automatically deducted from the credit card or card that they have on file. And then what I really liked about it is the ability to not only establish those payment plans, but then if you are sending out a letter or an email regarding a balance that's owed, you can have a link for payment online. Your collections people don't have to make the phone call and collect the credit card number. It's already on file. They just charge that. Or the patient you have the ability to create QR codes so a patient can pay online. And what's really cool that I've seen more recently personally is being able to pay via text, which is kind of, so all those options are available now. And I don't know if all owners are aware of that.
Yeah, and then that goes back to the patient experience, and it also goes back to increasing that revenue for the office. And so what's great about it is you tie all those things together, and we use the technology tools that we provide to the office to do those things, right? And it's so simple when we take those tools and we integrate it to the practice software.
Right.
And it makes it easy. And what's great about it is that, we can integrate it with any practice software, whether it be WebPT, Systems for You, whatever the case may be. And that's the beauty about it.
That's cool. Well, before we get into it really quick, is the website Rectangle Health?
That's correct.
Okay,
Yep.
cool.
Yep.
Yeah. So, so people can check it out, of course.
Absolutely.
And then I'll have you share your contact information when we're done here so they can reach out to you directly. But we wanted to cover 5 things, and well, you at least listed these and shared them with me. 5 things that are beneficial to having a digital payment system like this associated into into your practice and linked up to your EMR. And so let's go through these 5 things. I'll let you kind of head it up.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, as we said, we work with PTs, throughout the country. And so a lot of things that when we talk to PT owners, some of the things that, we like to avoid, and Nathan, chime in as you feel when we talk about these. And one of the biggest things is no shows, right? And some of the things that we've learned throughout the times that we talk to PT owners is the numerous times the amounts that you see the patients, right? It could be from anywhere from 2 to 3 times a week, right? And so, and when that happens, you do get these no-shows, right? So one of the things that that's important is to avoid the no-shows, right? And so, it's nice to have card on file, right? Some of the things that PT owners tell me is that, they don't have the means to have a card on file in a secure fashion, right? And so it's nice to have a way to one, have it in a secured fashion where it's encrypted, and also maybe have a policy, right? But and to possibly go ahead and maybe charge the patient for that visit if they have a no-show. And I'm not saying that you have to do this, but it's nice to have that option. And maybe they have a legitimate excuse for the patient not to have not to show, and you can be lenient about it. But again, maybe to kind of have that scare or into that
well,
patient.
if you have the policy and there's no teeth to it, that's really hard. To why bother having the policy? Some people have a no-show cancellation fee, which is what we're talking about, and how to charge that. But then how to collect that if you're going to take the time to have to call them and then, oh, hey, we're going to charge you. Oh, by the way, what's your credit card number? Yeah, come on. I mean, you've lost them at that point. So you could say, listen, we have to charge you. We have this policy in place. Having that conversation is important, but this makes it easier to actually have some teeth.
Yeah. And how many times do you see it as a consumer and as a patient, right? We go into an office and we see that this policy is enforced, but they never take your card, right? And so it's one of those things. Okay, well, I'm just not going to show. How are they going to charge me, right?
Yeah. How serious are these people?
Yeah, how serious? Exactly. And so when you have this card on file, it's a little bit more serious in most times. And so it's nice to have the system in place when you can, so and that again, just one of those topics that we see as consultants out there. So
the second one being you mentioned reducing cost by utilizing digital payment technology and what's available to you. Tell me a little bit about your thinking there. How does the digital, I have an idea, but tell me what you're thinking about how digital payment technologies help reduce costs.
So we've seen when we go to and again, with the pandemic that kind of happened, it opened up our eyes to so many things where everyone went digital, right? I mean, our loved elderly patients coped with and learned very quickly how to use digital technology, right? They learned how to use to scan a menu, right? They literally scanned the QR codes, and how to pull up a menu. They did. I mean, me and my parents, obviously they're 65 plus of age, and then when they're going to dinner, they're scanning the QR code to pull up the menu, and that's where digital technology is, right? And so we came out and we see QR codes being used for making payments. Okay, statements today are being sent with a QR code on there, right? So when we say digital technology, Nathan, what we're seeing is, no more paper is being sent, right? Statements are being reduced, and if they are being sent, they're being sent with a QR code, right?
Or via text.
And or via text, right? So some offices, right, they're going completely text to pay. Okay.
Mm.
Some offices are going hybrid. Maybe they're reducing the amount of statements that are going out.
Right.
Some offices are saying, no, my patients still like to see the statement. So they're putting, okay, great. No big deal. We have an option, for you as well. Or they're putting a QR code on there.
On the statement.
And on the statement, statement. And what that does is, okay, they're making it easier for that,
Right.
patient to make that statement, because even if that statement, they have to go figure out how to make that payment,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Yes, there is
It's
likes
always kind
of
of, you don't want to have them call, hey, here's my credit number. Or it's always kind of sketchy to write down the credit card number and then mail that back in. It's all, let's just do it easy, quickest, easy, fastest way to get the money in is going to mean more money to you.
Well, you come up with a great point when we call, like, for example, a lot of people are working from home these days, or they're working in general, but think about office hours when they're trying to call an office, right?
Yeah.
You're working 9 to 5, right? If someone's working 9 to 5 and or maybe your office is busy from 9 to 5, it's hard to sometimes even call an office to make a payment.
Right.
So now when you have this QR code, or even a text to pay option, you can make that payment whenever you want.
Saturdays, Sundays,
whenever,
midnight.
after hours, whenever.
Sure.
And the other great thing is, when we come to digital payments, is a link on your website. Having a payment option on the website
online.
And so when we call the office, and if we're trying to make a payment, the message at the very end can simply say, hey, if you're trying to make a payment, our office has go to our website.
Right.
So it's just another talk track that we're seeing as we're being consulting with offices, as we're hearing some pain points when we speak to these offices. That's just the feedback we're getting, and that's just the solution that we're providing. And it's a great concept or feedback that we get, and it's a great concept for patients to be able to pay.
I appreciate it too. I mean, as a consumer myself, I love the options to just do everything online, because usually my credit card number is saved online with whatever browser I'm using at the time. And and so it's easy to plug and play. It makes things so much easier.
It is. Yeah. It is. And
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, it kind of ties into number 4. I know we're jumping from 2 to 4 here, but
that's okay.
Keeping your AR at a minimum because of staffing. Like, if you don't have to, if your front desk doesn't have to take the card and collect the copay and print out the receipt, they can focus on more productive things, right?
Absolutely. And right now, another issue that many offices are having is staffing issues, right? Because let's say you did get through the office to make a payment, right? Now you got to take another step, and because that patient is going to ask for a receipt, right? And so now you got to figure out how to send them the receipt, scan it, mail it, whatever the case may be, because that patient's going to want a receipt. Well, when you make the payment yourself, very digitally, that receipt is automated on your phone. It's sent to you via email, because that's just the way the system is set up. And so the patient gets that receipt, auto-generated, right? And so that's just the way the way the world is now, right? So it's nice. And to go to continue on with number 4 point that we see is also, let's say they were able to get through the office, and they're asking to make a payment over the phone. Well, we've seen that offices, they're not taking the payment over the phone anymore, Nathan. They're saying to the patient, they're putting the onus on the patient. They're saying, hey, Sachin, if I'm the patient, hey, I got 2 patients in front of me. I've got the doctor in the background. Can you please just go on our website? Or, hey, what's your date of birth? What's your full name? And I will text you a link for you to make a payment. And when they get a few minutes, they go ahead and text them the link to make a payment.
Right.
Because again, what's happening, in which is going to be our next point, is the security of that payment.
Right.
right? When that patient makes the payment, their auto will get that receipt, but they're making the payment themselves, and the office manager or the staff member is not inputting that card.
Yeah.
So it's a more of a secure payment.
Yeah, you're eliminating the middleman.
You're eliminating the middleman. And so it's less of a security issue because that payment is coming from their own IP address, their own device, rather than another device from another location.
Yeah, well, something that kind of speaks to me when I get those kind of more up-to-date technological balance or bills and that kind of stuff is that it kind of makes me think, well, this company has their crap together. They're not relying on pen and paper anymore.
Yeah.
and phoning in a credit card number. This is secure. These guys are there, and they're serious. They're not stuck in the 90s.
Well, what's nice about it, and again, this goes to probably our point number 3 there is, you talk about PCI compliance and you talk about security and you talk about, what we call, disputing charges, right? And so if I call you and I'm giving you my card over the phone and you take my payment over the phone and 2 days later I call and dispute a charge, right? Well, and I can simply say, oh no, I never called in that office, I never made that payment, right? In the normal credit card world, I can dispute that charge all day long.
Really?
Right? Absolutely. Right.
Oh, okay.
But in the world where if you bounce that back to me and say, hey, I'm going to text you a link for you to make that payment, and I'm putting that payment in myself, it's recorded in a whole different fashion.
Really?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Right. Because I'm making the payment from my phone. So the IP address and all the things behind it is completely different.
I see. Yeah.
It's more of it's PCI, and the way that payment is made and the way that receipt is given is a completely different fashion. Right. And so the far as chargebacks and things like that is concerned, it also is looked at differently as well.
Does it require maybe an additional piece of new patient paperwork for them to say, yes, it's okay for me to have a card on file with you guys? So is that pretty easy standard paperwork?
Excellent question. Excellent question. So, Rectangle Health actually, in general, yes. To answer your question, yes.
Rectangle Health probably has that document available.
Rectangle Health has it, absolutely, and other companies should as well.
Right.
Offices can draw something up for sure, but it also, it can be generated. Rectangle Health, what they do is they have what we call a intake form that's generated, which can be given to a new patient, right? Through what we call our practice management bridge. And through the practice management bridge, it can be texted through the portal to the patient, where they fill out some intake type questions, like a demographic type questionnaire.
Okay.
And then at the very end, they can put their card on file. Okay. As an authorization to keep their card on file. Okay. So yes, you do have to have the patient's authorization to keep their card on file, which can also be done in the office if they don't fill out that form.
Right.
Now, there are legal ways and legal implications to do that, to keep that card on file, but it has to be done in an encrypted PCI compliance fashion.
Yeah, which is standard for you guys.
Absolutely.
Right. Gotcha. Yeah, and so I could definitely see, and going to point number 5, how having that card on file, I think it's easily understandable for those who are listening who are PT owners, that having this kind of technology can just definitely help the flow, not just in the office, but in the overall AR aging processes.
Well, and that's one of the biggest points that I've learned working with a lot of the PT owners. Okay. We work with a lot of physical offices. We work with a lot of individual owners as well. And, because you guys see these patients so frequently, Nathan, that, when they come in, it's done by vanity code, right? A lot of times the practice EMR, what it does, it generates a chart number, right? And they just basically use that chart number as their vanity code. Right. And so what happens is they literally just come in, hey, Sachin, nice to meet you. Pull up their vanity code and just charges their copay. Done. Nice. Patient goes on back, you know? Right. And so there's no, you know, they're coming in their gym shorts and man, they don't, and they just want to have their keys in their pocket, well, you know?
Kids come in often, you know, parents are dropping them off and they don't have the credit card with them.
Or grandparents are bringing their kid or whatever the case may be, right? Yeah. And so the card, maybe the parents left the card on file. And so a lot of the same things happen with just in the medical vertical or in the dental vertical, same thing, same kind of concept. And so that's huge for you guys. And so it's a very easy way for the patients. It's also a very easy way for the practice as well. And it's just a nice thing to have. It's also nice from the billing standpoint, right? One of the card on file, you can also do this. Let's say on the very first visit, right? You guys, you know, you do your eligibility process, and you come up with a number of, let's say, $75. Okay, so $75 is a threshold, right? And this is very important because it reduces the statements that going out, reduces phone calls and whatever balances and things like that. Because the threshold of $75, you can authorize to go ahead and charge any balance under $75 that the insurance doesn't cover.
Oh, okay. I see.
Okay. Nice. So now you don't even have to send the text.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you set that up at the initial evaluation.
That's right.
If there's ever a balance that's less than, say, $100,
sure,
it'll just automatically charge.
That's right. And again, that's a number, and that's what you and the office staff come up with, right? Okay. What you decide, right? Exactly. And you can also kind of decide that upon maybe some insurance. And again, I don't know all the insurances, sure, but you can also decide that according to the insurance, right? You know, depending on what the insurance is paying, how they pay, and you can cater that accordingly. But yeah, so the system will allow you to do that as well.
I really like what you guys. Oh, go ahead. You have one more thing.
No, I was just going to say you can also non-insurance, right? When you keep card on file, you can also do like, you know, it's important to, and I know we don't have a point for this, but it kind of ties in with this. You can also do stuff like payment plans. This is, again, just what I hear from PT owners, patients who have like remaining balances and things like that. You can also do like payment plans and stuff, right? And it's nice because, you know, you have these payment plan options that PT owners would like to do with their patients because of balances that are left over. But they also like to do wellness membership plans. Okay, which is just like a gym membership, right? You know, which is completely different than balances that are owed, right? I may be done with all my therapy, and I maybe I still owe $500, you know, and I'm done with therapy, and I just got to pay it off, you know, $50, maybe $100 a month, whatever the case may be, right? But I may just want to come in and do like a wellness membership plan with you guys, right? So you have this option to do this, which is like, and it's just like a gym membership, $29.95 a month, you know, just to come do therapy for however long I want it, and I can end it whenever I want it.
Yeah. What I really like about the payment plan option is the scenario, and especially at the beginnings of the year, January and February, when deductibles, especially since deductibles are getting higher, there's going to be a $2,000 deductible that inevitably hasn't been met.
Right.
And if they're not cool with that fact, you can offer a payment plan solution. Well, you know, if it's okay with you, we'll keep your card on file and simply charge you $250, $200 a month until your deductible is met, and set it up like that. Whereas the record keeping and the follow-up required in the past to do that would just be burdensome, and you wouldn't even present that option in the past, right?
That's right.
Simply because it was burdensome. So just now to have that automatically done And I'm sure you can put a cap when they reach a certain amount that it will stop drawing that automatic payment. But to just establish that up front then makes the transaction much more smooth, but also gives the patient more confidence that, okay, I'm covered. Well, I can handle $250 a month and I can get my healthcare met at the same time.
That's right. That's right. And we recently are going to, we just came up with a plan, which is going to be launched here very, very soon, hopefully in July. It's going to be called Care Now, Pay Later. What that's going to be in the PT world, and all the other different verticals as well, but mainly for the PT world, is a patient finance program. Okay. And what that's going to do is basically allow the patient to get financed for, care and physical therapy for something like care credit.
Okay.
And essentially will allow them to, depending on their credit, and it'll be, whether bad credit or good credit, doesn't matter.
Right.
Everyone gets approved, kind of scenario.
Sure.
And there will be no recourse to, if the loan gets defaulted or whatnot, there will be no recourse to the practice owner.
Wow.
And so there's still more details to come.
That's cool.
But yeah, so that's the next program that will be available under our belt. Yeah.
How cool, man.
Yeah.
Well, we covered your 5 things that make digital payment options like yours at Rectangle Health beneficial for PT owners. Is there anything else you want to cover?
No, I don't, unless you have any questions that we didn't cover. I know you've been using Rectangle Health for a while now, and I think you've been a good advocate and about it. So yeah,
it makes things much more smooth and simple, right?
Yeah.
There's a learning curve, but
sure,
outside of that, it works really well. And so if people want to get in touch with you, how do they do that?
You could definitely, obviously, give me a call, my direct line, 904-536-6787. And then of course my email, S as in Sam, B as in boy, H-A, T as in Tom, T as in Tom @rectanglehealth.com.
Okay.
And I can also, share it on your page there.
Of course.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, thanks for taking the time to share that with us.
I appreciate it. No, thank you for having me. I really appreciate this.
All right. Have a good day, Sachin.
Thank you. Take care.